Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another weather forecast here by Agent Weather Forecast. This will be yet another severe weather forecast here, except this is going to be for the southeast here, and we're also going to be focusing on the potential for severe weather as well in the mid-Atlantic tomorrow. But our main focus as of today is the southeast. We do have a level 2, level 2 slight risk already, and I think we can possibly have an enhanced risk. Likely, we're going to be seeing very strong winds, very potential for some large hail in some of these areas, and maybe a scattered tornado or two for areas in Georgia, Alabama, and even South Carolina. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, guys. Hope you guys all enjoy my daily weather forecast. And let's try to get to 2,210 subscribers. Again, thank you guys so much for 2,200 subscribers. We just got that yesterday, so thank you guys all for the support. And also be sure to share the channel to any friends or family that you think will love my daily weather forecast, or that you think will need to know about the severe weather to help be weather aware. But without further ado, let's get in this video. So this is the map I just made actually not too long ago here. So this is what I think the SPC outlook is going to look like by the end, or really not by the end of today, but maybe possibly with the next update or two. This is exactly what I think it should be looking like right now. And I think, yes, I think there's a possibility we can possibly have an enhanced risk here for parts of eastern Georgia, eastern and central Georgia, and even parts of far eastern South Carolina. I think it's very likely, not really because of the hail and tornado potential, but for the wind potential. We're going to be seeing a huge low jet that's going to bring a ton of wind shear and strong straight line winds. I think the probability for winds should be a lot higher, and that will extend it to an enhanced risk there. Definitely possibly seeing a significant severe risk for winds likely. And then, so that's what I think should happen. That's going to be for areas not far from Augusta. That's going to be for Rome, Georgia. Sorry, not Rome, Georgia. That's going to be for areas out there in Athens, Georgia, near Clemson, South Carolina, as well near just south of Atlanta, not far from the Macon, Georgia as well. It's going to be right there for kind of like really eastern Georgia and central Georgia. And this is where I think the slight risk should be here. It's not incredibly different. I think we should just have it extend a bit more to North Carolina and South Carolina. Here we have that slight risk for Tallahassee, Albany, Columbus. I think we should extend the slight risk all the way into the Augusta area, extend it all the way into the Greenville, South Carolina areas, extend it to the areas into northeastern South Carolina. Really, that's what I think they should extend a slight risk, not also because of the winds, but also there's a very big potential for some really strong and severe weather bands that are likely to possibly bring in some decent sized hail in these areas. And I think we can extend that all the way into the far eastern border with Tennessee and North Carolina. And then we have that dark green scattered marginal risk. That's where we'll be seeing really small risk for severe weather. That's going to be all the way from the Orlando area all the way up to the Lexington and not far from Roanoke. I think we should definitely have this marginal for Kentucky, parts more into Western Virginia and West Virginia. I think it's very likely we can extend that marginal risk for those areas. I think it's very likely we're definitely seeing scattered bands throughout the day that could be quite severe and could definitely cause some damaging winds and maybe some smaller size, pea-sized hail maybe. But now let's get into the models. So this is the National Weather Service here. So like I said earlier yesterday, I said we were going to be seeing tons. We're going to be seeing multiple wind advisories by like I said, I think Friday and Saturday. And next thing you know, we already have wind advisories for much of the eastern United States. Of course, even widespread in the central United States from that low level jet. Definitely, we're going to be seeing a ton of areas across the East Coast under wind advisories by tomorrow and Friday. We'll have millions under these wind advisories from that low level jet. Going to be seeing extremely strong wind shear here. Definitely going to cause damaging winds. Very strong wind gusts as well. But here we have flood watches throughout areas into the mid-Atlantic already due to that really strong rain that's going to be moving in the areas by tomorrow. So that's like I said, tomorrow we'll also see that possibly for severe weather in the mid-Atlantic. That's going to be areas for Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, parts of southern New York, all the way into the northern North Carolina area. And even out there into the Appalachians where we had that possibility for flooding threats. So that's what we'll be seeing again, that really heavy rain moving in tomorrow. As of right now, we don't have any severe threats from warnings, watches, anything really as of right now. These bands will definitely start to strengthen by the afternoon hours. But we do have some very strong rain out there near the New Orleans area here. Very powerful bands near the island of Louisiana there. But that's not going to be too severe. So that's not really big of a threat here on the National Weather Service. Really, now we're going to be looking at the day one outlook here. So this is where we have that slight risk. Like I said, we can definitely have this marginal go up to the Nashville area, Lexington, south of Charleston, a lot more into North Carolina. Then that's a lot more likely, and I think we can even extend it to Orlando. And then here we have our highest risk for today. The slight risk, of course, I think it's very likely we can possibly have an enhanced risk, but it's not 100% likely. But this is where we have our area of focus right here on the slight risk is our highest risk as of today. That's going to be including areas like Atlanta, Tallahassee. You guys are like right on that border with the marginal and slight, including Pensacola, Panama City, Albany, Georgia, Columbus, Georgia, Troy, Alabama. Not getting closer and closer to the Augusta area and also into the border with South Carolina. I'm also in that slight risk here. I think our best chance for tornadoes, hail, and winds. So as I think that's definitely not going to be as bad as tomorrow or yesterday. So tornado threat is only a 2% chance. I think it can definitely be extended to a 5% chance for sure. So as you can tell, we only have a slight risk because of this wind threat. Because tornado threat will have to be like a 5% chance for really to have a slight risk if it weren't for anything else. So we have a 2% chance, very widespread, all the way from the Louisiana area to South Carolina. So this is exactly why I also think we have a slight risk a lot more into South Carolina, maybe even that enhanced risk. Hail threats also on the lower side will have a 5% chance. That's going to be for areas into for much of Georgia, parts of western Florida, far eastern Mississippi, and much of Alabama, except the northern part and far western parts. But that's going to be for Atlanta, Gainesville, Montgomery, Birmingham, Huntsville, Columbus, Pensacola, Panama City, areas near Meridian. See where we have that possibility for a highest risk for hail today. I think that'll stay at a 5% chance. And then our wind threats at a 15% chance. Of course, I think it can be extended to a 30% chance. I think that's very likely with this low-level jet. That's where we're seeing very strong winds. And then tomorrow, we only have a marginal, but I think we can definitely be seeing a slight risk tomorrow as well. Now we'll be looking at the NAM model here on these very powerful bands. Here we already have these systems, these bands out here into the south central, bringing some really strong and heavy rain out there into southern Mississippi areas, into eastern Louisiana, and even getting to the Mobile area where we have that possibilities for a slight risk. As we continue on the next couple of hours, we're going to be seeing these bands all the way up into the Tennessee Valley and Ohio Valley, very strong bands for Cincinnati. Also moving to the Louisville area, moving towards Lexington. Here we have these scattered bands all over Georgia, and we have very strong linear bands moving towards the Nashville area and much of Tennessee. This is exactly why I have that marginal extending a little bit later today. And look at this very strong band that's going to be heading towards much of Kentucky, areas into eastern Tennessee. Here we have this very strong, or mainly heavy rain, but some scattered thunderstorms throughout northern Georgia, even some scattered pop-up storms into southern and central Georgia, or sorry, south and central Alabama. And this is where things get a little crazy here by Wednesday night, or by tonight, sorry. Very powerful bands out here into really central Georgia, eastern Georgia. This is, of course, where I think we can have that possibly for an enhanced risk right here, likely. Very powerful band, also very strong straight line linear band that's going to be moving to the western panhandle area. That's going to be, of course, moving to Panama City and eventually arriving to the moving towards the Tallahassee area. Shouldn't be too necessarily severe, but definitely have to watch out for straight line winds and maybe some hail. Shouldn't be major though. And here we have a very big rain threat for tomorrow out here into the Carolinas and to the mid-Atlantic, into West Virginia and Virginia. And this is where I think we can possibly have a slight risk now for areas near Winston-Salem, Richmond, Roanoke, areas near the Myrtle Beach area. Even a very high risk for some really long, severe, maybe even a squall lines moving towards Florida. That would be, of course, moving into that areas like moving towards Gainesville, moving towards Jacksonville. And then we'll have that very big severe weather threat now for the mid-Atlantic here. Very powerful straight line linear bands there for the mid-Atlantic, including Delaware, areas into southern Maryland, and even seeing some really strong and heavy rain out there towards Pennsylvania. This could possibly cause a severe weather threat there for the New England area, and then should move out by Saturday. Now we're going to be looking at the NAM 3KM model here in the European. Of course, here we have these bands developing out there into the south central. Here we have these scattered bands developing into the Tennessee Valley area, northern Mississippi. And here we have in the next couple hours by later tonight, very strong pop-up storms developing throughout Mississippi. And here we have very heavy rain, possibly flooding throughout the Carolinas and Tennessee. And then we have that really big band. That's where we possibly have this enhanced risk again for northeastern South Carolina and parts of eastern Georgia. And here we have this strong linear band moving towards Tallahassee. That'll be heading towards Valdosta. And then here we have the severe weather threat, of course, tomorrow for the Carolinas, Mid-Atlantic, and even Florida. We can possibly have a very widespread marginal risk for tomorrow. Now we'll be looking at the jet stream here. This is exactly why we possibly have an enhanced risk, because jet stream or low-level jets definitely bringing a ton of wind shear here. This wind shear has strengthened a lot since yesterday, so I think wind shear might be even stronger today than yesterday. So here we have this low-level jet dipping all the way to the south central and then lifting up. That's where you have that low-level jet. We're going to have the low-pressure system right here. And this is going to bring in very, very powerful winds throughout the Ohio Valley. This is exactly why we have scattered wind advisories. Very powerful winds out here to the south central. That's exactly why we're going to be seeing multiple pop-up storms in Louisiana, Mississippi throughout this morning. And very strong pop-up storms out there in the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley from yesterday. That's also going to be from the very strong wind shear, 80+ knots in these areas. Later, this wind shear is going to get a lot worse, and it's going to be moving with the bands. So over tonight into tomorrow morning, you can see the strongest wind shears out there just outside the Appalachians into West Virginia, Pennsylvania. That's exactly where we're going to be seeing these really strong severe weather bands, and maybe seeing possibly for some more pop-up storms throughout Arkansas. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Let me actually fix that really quick. But again, very, very large low-level jet here dipping that's highlighter. Dipping all the way up into the south central there, and then dipping right up there. We have that low pressure system now. That's going to be these very strong bands throughout the mid-Atlantic. That's going to cause that severe weather threat now to move in towards Virginia, the Carolinas, of course. As you can tell, now it's the low jet bringing the strongest wind shear into Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. So it looks like we'll definitely be seeing a lot of flooding threats, very strong winds. This would be more of really wind severe weather threats. So these bands will definitely be moving at a very fast pace. For sure, very, very fast pace. These bands going to be more of a wind threat out of really anything. This is all going to be this very, very large low-level jet. So definitely be seeing a lot of wind advisories, flood watches, and definitely need to watch out for debris and all that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will have another weather forecast out here later today. It might be on the U.S. forecast on possibly for the U.S. For the new pattern change there and a cool down. And then of course tomorrow I have my summer forecast. My first preliminary summer forecast comes out tomorrow. So hope you guys are excited. Bye guys.